and welcome to your messages for the week. These are your messages for the week beginning Sunday, the 12th of May, 2024. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Deborah Jane Sutton, and you can find out more about me and the things that I do and the fun that I have from my website at deborahjanesutton.com and from this YouTube channel. So have a good browse around. And if you're in the Costa Blanca North area of Spain, then check out the website at thegardenretreatpago.com, and you will see all the fun activities and events that we have going on. And one of the, bit too chatty sometimes, aren't they, like me? See, I did say that actually in my email to I've got a lovely group of people together for my next Learn to Read Tarot course. I'm really excited about it. And I was just kind of like just writing the email without thinking, just letting stuff come through. And one of the things that came through was, think of your cards as an extension of your own consciousness. And really feel into that, because really you are the creator of your own reality, right? And the cards are helping you connect to your highest self and your own highest guidance. So that's a really important point, I think. So yeah, when they fall out and they want to be too chatty, yeah, that's an extension of my own consciousness, isn't it? Anyway, that took me away from what I was saying, and I can't remember what it was. Oh yes, all the events that we've got going on here. Something really exciting that we have this week is the lovely Amy Bird is coming to visit the lovely Liz and myself, and we're doing an event, or she's doing an event at the Garden Retreat, and she's going to be actually taking details beforehand so that she can find out everybody's north and south node, so that she'll be able to give specific guidance on what the north node is telling them. Now, we've done a video on the importance of the north node, or the nodes in general. I'll put a link in the description to that and the video in the end screen. So I know a lot of you have had your natal charts read with Amy. And yeah, and I obviously do recommend that, although she won't have time this coming week because she's here with us in person. So Liz and I are super excited about that. And if you don't know who Liz is, if you're new to my channel and you don't know who Liz is, check out the section on my channel which is called Self-Mastery with Liz Nagle. She's my good friend and mentor, and she shares words of wisdom. She takes whatever the cards say and takes it to another level. So it's always some food for thought, is what I would say. Okay, let's have a look. We've got that one that's come out. So far this month, it's been quite interesting. The month of May, I'll put a link in the description and the video in the end screen to the May's messages as well, because they were all about there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. And that's obviously a theme this month, to look at the world as if there is nothing wrong, which a lot of people will say, how can you say that when there's all this, right and wrong going on? But then last week's, and I'll put a link into this one as well in case you missed it, last week's were all about that Rumi quote, which says that there is beyond, it says, beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So this is about taking our consciousness to the next level. And I do think that is easier done when you see things from a soul level, and you understand that our souls have chosen the adversity. Our souls have chosen to co-create adversity, not only for ourselves, but for other people. We've been the perpetrator in other people's adversity. Get out of denial. And you've got to take radical responsibility for everything that you have created and everything that you are continuing to create. So when something comes into your reality that you don't prefer, that you don't like, or you have resistance to, the question isn't to point fingers and blame and go down that road, because that's just going to entangle you with it, and it's going to keep that experience, that frequency of whatever it is that you don't prefer, it's going to keep it rooted in your reality. Okay, basically you're keeping it in your future. Well, why would you want to do that? So really we need to be able to look at these things and understand that we have, on a soul level, chosen the adversity, to learn and grow from. And it might be something little, it might be a little trigger that's coming in, but whatever, whether it's a big trigger, little trigger, whatever judgments you are making about anything outside of you, you need to understand, we need to understand, it's easy to forget, right? That everything is a mirror to our own frequency. So what is it inside of me? And it's very easy to say, well, I'm not bad, I'm not greedy, I'm not violent, I'm not all these things. No, we're not on the level of the mirror. I think we need to understand that the mirrors are magnifying mirrors. They're the ones you get at the fun fair that just make you 10 times bigger, right? Sometimes they're not magnifying mirrors, right? Sometimes they're just little tiny ones, right? But very often they're magnifying mirrors, which is why we find it so difficult to relate to it. So if you're experiencing someone being really greedy, like corporations or banks or what have you, and you're seeing this greed where they're just like taking money left, right, and center, daylight robbery, you know, like a lot of the taxes and things like that. When you see that greed outside of you, and if you can observe it from a place of peace, then that's what we want to achieve. And when you do that, it will no longer come into your reality. That's how we get rid of these things. Sorry, I have to put quote marks because we're not really getting rid of it. What we're doing is we're raising our frequency to experience a higher frequency reality, and that will remain, because in the all that is by the nature of its name, the all that is the all that is. So if anything has ever been thought or believed or imagined or dreamt, because the universe is mental, right, then it exists in the all that is. So if that greed has existed, past, future, in the now moment, the whole shebang, then it's somewhere in the all that is. But you don't have to keep on experiencing it. But the only way to not experience it is by learning to love it, learning to accept it, and releasing the mirror image of it. So that might be greed. I'm using that as an example. That might be greed outside of you. But where are you being greedy? Now, you're not greedy like that, maybe. You're not ripping people off, you know, demanding more money than you know, the job is worth or what have you. You might not be doing that. But do you have more clothes than you need? Do you eat more food than you need? Have you got more, I don't know, vases than you need? You know, are you taking up people's time more than you need? You know, it's on a lot of different levels, and it's actually one of the yoga niyamas. Not taking more than you need. And on some level, I think we're all taking or using or having or owning or whatever more than we need. I mean, we've downsized considerably when we moved into the garden retreat, and we got rid of so much stuff, but still I have just more than I need, like towels, sheets, I don't know, things like this. So do you have more than you need? Because on some level, that's greed. And if you have that, so the way I would look at it, if I'm triggered by observing greed in the world outside of me, my holographic projection that I'm calling life, if I'm triggered by greed, I will just look inside and go, okay, so where am I being greedy? Perhaps I went out for a meal and ate more than I needed. That happens. Maybe I've opened some cupboards and there's a load of stuff in there. I could take stuff to the charity shop. I don't need all these towels. You know, we used to rent our old house out to holiday makers. That's why we have so many towels and sheets and things. And, you know, we got rid of loads of them and you just think, oh, I'll keep these, but maybe we've still kept more than we need. Whatever, it's an example. But the point being, when we're triggered, we can actually look within. So it's the same with conflict. If you're being affected and triggered emotionally by the conflict that you're seeing in the world outside of you, then where is the conflict inside of you? Where are you not at peace with yourself? Which parts of you are you arguing with? Are you fighting with? You know, where have you got resistance to things? You know, where are you not at ease? You know, and it could be something really small, maybe with the way your hair looks today, or it could be maybe the way your body looks, or maybe one of the relationships that you have. You can't see the divinity in somebody. Maybe your neighbor's winding you up. You know, when you, every time you see them, you know, you just kind of like want to argue with them. That's conflict, you know. So until we have dealt with the conflict inside of us, we're going to still witness and be triggered by conflict outside of us. Now, there's a lot of people that can observe what's going on in the world without being triggered. Or when I say without being triggered, I mean without being triggered by a negative emotion. Because what you will find you will do is that your heart will just expand with love and compassion for perceived victims, perceived perpetrators, you know, for all sides of all arguments, for all of humanity. In fact, we don't even need to pinpoint this particular conflict or that particular conflict, because, you know, there's conflict going on all around in the all that is. But it's only going to come into your reality if and upset you emotionally if you have some conflict within you. So that's kind of like, wow, that all came out. So that was obviously meant to be, wasn't it? And I always say to myself, just do the cards, just do the cards there. I press record and stuff comes out. So that was a message for someone somewhere. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. And the cards have now said, here we go. So let's have a look. Any more? I've got 5 cards just came out then. They were quite chatty then again, and 4 fell out together. I already had one. I think I'm going to leave it there. Now they're all face down. Let's dive in. Love it. Ace of Cups. Beginnings, new beginnings. It's one of the most positive cards, aces, because this is spiritual guidance coming in. Cups, of course, is heartfelt, it's emotional, it's emotionally fulfilling, it's creative, it's intuition, and it's spirituality. And so it's a new way of feeling. It's a new way of loving, and it's come on the heels of what I've just said. Loving what is. Can we send love to victims and perpetrators alike? Remember, all the past life healing, remember that you have created adversity for yourself and for other people through being the victim and through being the perpetrator. And you might not remember in this lifetime. And in fact, I'm going to go as far as to say the things that really bother you, the things that deep down really bother you, are probably because it's in the cells of your body from another lifetime. I've seen this happen so many times. People that have a hatred for a certain subculture, shall we say. And when I did the past life healing, it came out that they'd had at least 3 lifetimes as being in that subculture. And it was a subculture that they were perceiving as very wrong and bad and immoral, and, you know, all of those negative judgments. So really, that energy was in the cells of their own body. So, of course, it was being reflected back to them, and they were seeing it. They were seeing this subculture that they didn't prefer, excuse me, all around them. And it was triggering the part of them. And in this lifetime, they were the victim of that subculture. Okay. But you are the whole universe in one human being. You've had numerous lifetimes. Okay. Or you are having, but we're only focused on one because our human mind would just frazzle if we could see all of them at the same time, and all of the different choices that we've made. There's just infinite things going on, and possibilities going on, and timelines going on. So if you have been you know, let's say, for example, I'm going to pick an example, you know, if you were a Nazi in another life, then you're going to be really anti that behavior in this lifetime, right? And you can observe that behavior as not preferred, and not conscious, you know, and not coming through the divine. But if it's really triggering you and it's really got you and it becomes your biggest passion in life, it could be because it's in the cells of your body as part of who you are. So making friends with our own shadow. There we go. That's the one. Making friends with our own shadow. Yeah. Making friends with our own shadow. Ace, new beginnings. So there is a new beginning. Look at the peace. The peace, the dove shows the peace. Can you make friends with your own shadow? Because that's the most important thing. Definitely. Definitely. And you know, when you worry about a situation, I've had a couple of these recently where something happens and then you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? You know, it could be this, it could be this. And oh, you know, you don't know what's going on. I always think, well, okay, positive thinking, the best outcome's going to happen, right? And then I thought, no, I'm gonna play this game differently this time. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to focus on worst case scenario. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I focused on that for a while. And I thought, I'm going to make friends with the worst thing that can happen. So in other words, I focused on the worst thing that could happen and I made friends with it all. So if this happens, will I be okay? Yeah, I can be okay if that happens. What if this and this and this happen? Really worst case scenario. Okay, feel into it. No, I'll still be okay. I'll be okay. It's not my preferred outcome. I'll be okay. And I can trust that the universe is taking me where it wants me to go. So that will lighten my perception, you know? So making friends with worst case scenario is often a good way round things. And then once you've made friends with the worst case scenario, it's not going to happen, right? Because the fear of the worst case scenario, the fear frequency, remember, of the worst case scenario is what is going to create outside of you the worst case scenario. Does that make sense? It's the fear inside of you that is going to create the fear outside of you. And you're focusing on worst case scenario. If you're focusing on worst case scenario with fear, then you are creating it outside of you. Does that make sense? If you can look at worst case scenario in your mind's eye and make friends with it and be okay with that outcome, which usually comes from just trusting that the universe is taking you somewhere better. That's always a beautiful belief, isn't it? The universe is always taking me somewhere better. You know, if you can make friends with it, and then you have peace. There's your peace, your dove of peace. The light's not very good, sorry. Then that's what you're creating outside of you is peace. So the worst case scenario won't happen, you know? Oh, and if it does, you're okay about it because you've got peace in your heart. Does that make sense? So learning to love your own shadow is the most important thing. And we now have a beginning to do this. And this is on the heels of there is nothing wrong, remember. There is nothing wrong with your shadow. So let's stop judging your shadow. Let's get out of denial. Let's take responsibility for having a shadow. It's okay. If it makes you feel better, the shadow might be from another lifetime. It's okay. You don't have to identify with it as the human that you are in this lifetime. Okay, although why not? There you go. There's a little bit of grief. Yeah. So we've got this new beginning going on. And this is him reflecting on what isn't preferred. There's him reflecting on what isn't preferred. And this is what's coming in for him. So when you can grieve and release those emotions and focus on what isn't preferred, right? So this is what's not working. This is his loss, okay? And you can be okay with it. You can turn around and the good coming in, the more preferred journey coming in is going to take you over that bridge, which takes you to your goals in life, because the castle in the background is your goals in life. So on this path, there's often reflection. This is usually the grief card, but I'm going to call it reflection, the reflection card. I did talk a lot about grief actually in the May messages, where I had learned recently that grief isn't only born out of love, but grief is love. Can you see the love in the grief. I want to say that with this card as well, because that was obviously the main messages are obviously still really relevant. And we're in May, right? So yeah, if you're grieving at all for whatever, for whatever reason, can you feel an expansive feeling of love within the grief? That's what I want to ask you. Just let yourself grieve and just feel. It comes from your own level of self-love, I think, as well, obviously, and love for humanity. When you have that level of love for yourself and love for humanity, then you can open your heart and bring in that love, let it overflow out of your heart, whilst you're feeling the grief. And then you'll realize that actually love is grief, grief is love. That was a really interesting experience that I had. But that's what I think, that's what's coming up with this card as well. But also very much about what's not preferred, turn around to receive what is preferred. So this new journey that we're on, yes, we're going to be triggered. We've got to, I was going to say think in a new way, but of course this is a feeling card. We've got to feel in a new way. And we need to understand that every emotion that we feel in every now moment is our contribution to the collective. Do we want to be contributing anger and fear and negative feelings of grief and loss? See, this is why we can't stop grieving, because obviously it's part of the process. When you love people and we lose people, there's grief there, but we can do it from a higher level of consciousness, whereby the love that we have for ourselves, the love that we have for the person that's passed, the love that we have for humanity, just the love that we have just because we are divine love. That is the energy, that is the all that is energy that everything is made from. And when you can feel into that, then it kind of wraps the grief up. You wrap the grief up in love. And you can cry your eyes out, feel the grief, but you're doing it from an expanded state of awareness, and you're doing it from an expanded state of being. So you can still evolve. In fact, that's how we do evolve, by wrapping everything up in love. Yeah. Can you do that? Can you wrap everything up in love? Can you wrap your grief up in love? Can you wrap your shadow up in love? Can you wrap the parts of you that you don't like, that you've disowned? Can you wrap them up in love? I mean, love for humanity, love for yourself. You are humanity. Okay, let's see what's going on. We have the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is the wounded healer. Yeah, it's come on the heels of this. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So you could be feeling the grief, you could be feeling the loss, you could be feeling the tiredness. You might be coming down with something, and you've got events in your diary that you need to honor. So he's tired, basically. He is tired, and he's a little bit battle worn, I want to say. He wants to stop fighting. He wants to stop fighting. And the message with this card is very much dig deep into your spiritual reserves. And that's exactly what I'm suggesting that we do with looking at what he doesn't prefer. So he's battle worn. He doesn't want to fight anymore. He doesn't want to fight his shadow. He doesn't want to fight anybody else. He doesn't want to be in conflict anymore. He's the wounded soldier. He's the wounded healer. He doesn't want to just keep hitting his head against a brick wall. There's got to be a better way. And the better way is to take time out. And can you just wrap your divine love around the perpetrators? Can you wrap your divine love around the people that have been upsetting you, or the illness that you're feeling? Whatever it might be, whatever is not preferred, whatever it is in your reality that you would prefer wasn't the case, can you wrap it up in your own divine love? Don't forget, time to play. Don't forget, time to play. Wrap yourself up in your own divine love. And this has reminded me that we had a fantastic event the other day, belly dancing for beginners. It's that for beginners bit which is great because it just means that everyone just feels welcome and starting from scratch. And it was brilliant. And this is pretty much what we were like, you know, our emotional cups were overflowing. We were really enjoying it. And so much so that we've got another one coming up at the beginning of June. There is a link in the description to the garden retreat Pago if you are local. Check it out. But yeah, this is about letting your hair down, celebrating. I've got a day today with my favorite people. We're a 3 as well, and it's just 3's the magic number. But obviously, you know, this is just celebrating with your tribe, being open and honest and raw, and maybe even asking your nearest and dearest, where are my shadows? Can you see the shadows that I can't see? We do this now with the gene keys. I'm a big fan of the gene keys. I'll put a link in the description to the website. And we've got a gene key group where we just kind of chat about our gene key profiles. And all the gene keys, there's 64 of them, but there's just a certain number on your own profile that are more relevant to you. I think they're all relevant to us. But there are some that are more relevant than others, maybe, and at different times in your life, different ones will be more relevant, maybe. And each gene key has what it's by Richard Rudd. He's the person that devised the whole gene key method, or whatever you call it. It's a self-realization tool. That's what I would call it. But each gene key has what he calls the shadow and the gift, and then the siddhi. The siddhi means the highest octave of it. And the shadow is like the less preferred frequency of that, whatever it might be. And the gift is how you can, what you can work with to go from one to that. I'll give you an example, because one of mine is impatience, using patience as a tool to raise my frequency to timelessness. So timelessness is the siddhi, and patience is the gift, which is the tool that I can use. So I want to practice patience. So whenever I feel impatient, I just take a few breaths and practice patience. And it just raises your awareness to some of your shadows. That's what I want to say, because this is all about wrapping your shadow up in your own divine love. This is about loving your shadow. And so the gene keys helps us see a lot of our main shadows in life. So, and you can get a free profile from the website. But it's if it resonates with you, if you want another tool to find out more about who you are and how you came here to what you came here to experience and express, how you came here to express yourself, then I think it's a really useful tool. And it's it's a kind of a deep tool. You can take a little bit from it, and then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So you can just keep taking more and more from it. Probably not something that you're going to study day in, day out. I don't know. I dip into it and dip out when it feels right. But anyway, when you're with your tribe, it's a really good time to say, you know, what would you say my shadows were? You know, is there a part of me that I'm denying? Can you listen to those that love you tell you your less favorable qualities, your less preferred qualities? How would you feel? It's going to bring up defensiveness, isn't it? It's going to bring up denial. It's going to bring up maybe humiliation. It's going to bring up rejection, maybe. I mean, it's going to trigger, isn't it? But you have to be with people that love you, you know, and have already wrapped your shadow up in their own divine love. I'm talking about people that are really on your path, you know. You're not going to all the trolls on social media. You know, these are people that, you know, are really in your corner. And you might want to cry. I think that would be perfect, actually. I think that would be perfect. I might have to suggest that. And the last one for this week is the 4 of Cups. So we've got some real cups going on here. We've got the Ace of Cups, which is new beginnings. We've got the releasing these emotions that are not serving us, wrapping them up in love, remember. And we've got more cups here, because cups is heart, intuition, spirituality, having fun, okay, following your heart, being light-hearted, Okay, the Three of Cups is all those lovely fun things to do. It doesn't have to all be work. Remember, your future lies in your frequency, not in your bank account, not in how hard you work. So taking a day off work to go and do something fun is actually going to create a better reality for you, even if you're playing hooky or whatever they call it. So this one is also cups, and he's also looking at the three that are not serving him. It's interesting, we've got a repeated message here, haven't we? Because he's looking at 3 cups that are not serving him. So where are you spending your emotions? I was going to say, where are you invested emotionally that isn't serving you? That's a good one, isn't it? Where are you invested emotionally that isn't serving you? But this card is usually about restlessness and feeling bored, and he's not happy with his lot. And I usually call this card the gratitude card, because it's about being happy with his lot that allows his frequency to rise and allows this gift to come in. So there's the cloud means that it's a gift from the universe, right? And there's the hand coming in with the cup, and literally here we have it. It's a real repeat message going on, isn't it, relating back to the other cards. So this is your Ace of Cups coming in for you to take you to a new way of feeling, a new way of looking at things. So I think what he's doing is what I was saying earlier on about this is worst case scenario. He's not happy with this, but can you make friends with the worst case scenario? Can you make friends with the bits that are not your preferred bits, with your emotions that are not your preferred emotions, with the activities that are not your preferred activities, with the people that are not your preferred people? You know, whatever they are representing, can you make friends with it? Can you wrap them up in your own divine love? Can you do that? Can you make friends with worst case scenario? Can you wrap everything up in your own divine love? Because when you can do that, you release the density of this and this, the less preferred. Okay, it's going to be a lower frequency, right? Because it's less preferred. You're going to release that density and raise it to the next octave, raise it to that of love, because you've wrapped it up in your own divine love. So you're raising it. And that is how we raise the consciousness level of the collective. That is how we raise the frequency of humanity, by raising our own, by learning to love what is, by learning to love worst case scenario, and by wrapping everything up in your own divine love. Okay, wow, that's an interesting one, isn't it, for this week? So I want to wrap you up in my divine love, and yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I am sending you so much love, and thank you for getting to the end of the video. I love you, I love you, I love you. Have a fantastic week. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you in the next video. Bye for now.